Well, hey friends, I am Zach Zehnder, a pastor, author, speaker, and podcaster, but really passionate about seeing churches thrive. So whether you're in a big church or small, urban or rural or suburban, established or newly planted, one thing I think we all share is the call to be both fruitful and faithful. That's why I'm starting a brand new playlist called Church Growth Ally, a playlist of videos for you, pastors and church leaders, that you are not content to coast. You're not satisfied with just maintaining what is. You believe the church can still grow and that Jesus deserves nothing less. The gospel must go forth. And so this is for you. Today, I'm walking you through 10 practical, field-tested ideas that can help grow your church. These ideas are low cost. Some of them, most of them, are actually free, but all of them require intentionality, some more effort than others, and a passion for reaching the lost. If there's a couple of things I've learned from talking to a lot of pastors is you have a mutual desire that you want your church to grow, and you also don't want to spend a lot of money to do it. So give me some ideas, but don't break the bank, please. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. So real quick, if you're a pastor or a church leader and you are looking for more practical tools to help your church grow and be healthy, to have great disciples, and to look at current trends happening and what that means for your church, then boom, hit subscribe now. I've got more content like this coming out, and I don't want you to miss anything. So here's my promise to you in this video. These 10 ideas will be clear and practical. They will not be vague things like care more and be nicer and preach better. I mean, you should do those things and they would certainly help if you did those things, but I'm going to assume you already do. So if you're curious about my story, I had the privilege to lead the fastest growing church in a mainline denomination during the 2010s. And now I've been serving at a new local church the past almost 5 years that has grown from 1 to 3 campuses and has seen year-to-year growth in the double digits for 5 consecutive years. Many of the things I've learned and implemented have been given to me, learned from experience or from other great leaders in the church space. My 2 constant voices that I'm always listening to are my friends Rich Birch from Unseminary, who leads a church growth incubator, and Carrie Newhoff, who leads the Art of Leadership Academy. I'll put both of their links in the pinned comment below, as well as a link to grab a ton of free resources that go along with this video. What resources are those? Well, I've got a free ebook that goes deeper into many of these strategies. Originally written in 2021, many of the ideas still work, but I've replaced a few new ones in this video. So included in the link is a free leader's guide to take these ideas and share them with your staff, your leadership team, or board of directors so that you're not just hearing about them, but implementing them as well. So let me dive in first to a question, and then we're going to get straight to the 10 ideas. Here's the question: why does church growth matter? Before we dive into strategies, why does church growth matter? What's the why behind all of this? Because God calls us in Scripture to be both faithful and fruitful. Yes, faithfulness to the gospel is our foundation. But from Genesis to Revelation, God also commands fruitfulness. Jesus himself said, "By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit." Growth isn't about ego, it's about obedience and impact. Some pastors say I want an Acts 2 church. Well, if that's true, then we have to embrace growth, because that Acts 2 church, that early church, went from 120 people to over 100,000 people in just a couple of decades. They grew fast, they adapted quickly, and they kept the mission moving forward. But here's the reality. Today, 94% of churches in North America are losing ground. Only 6% are growing faster than the communities around them, and the average church needs to grow by 3% just to break even. And these numbers aren't just stats, they represent souls and stories and people that God deeply loves. And I do hear you that growth alone doesn't equal health, but the idea that growth and health are mutually exclusive is a myth. Growing churches can be healthy, vibrant, spirit-led communities, and declining churches can't afford to simply ignore steps that might lead more people to Jesus. Sadly, too many churches blame their decline on context, demographics, location, staff. All those things matter. But there's also, have you looked inward and asked, what can we do to better reach our community? In a post-COVID world where 20 to 40% of practicing Christians just stopped attending, the mission field is wide open. And some churches are on this trend and some are missing it. And here's more exciting news. Gen Z is showing surprising openness to church and spirituality. They're hungry for truth and community and purpose. And that is not a threat. That's an incredible opportunity, but we can't play defense. We must play offense and seize the moment. And that's exactly what this video is about. Giving you clear, practical ways to open the front door of your church wider so more people can meet Jesus. And so if you're ready to stop accepting decline and start dreaming again, well, let's do this. Idea number 1, increase invitability. Let's talk about invitability, a made-up word with massive potential, a term coined by Rich Birch that simply means, how easy are you making it for your people to invite others to church? According to Rich, it's the number one reason churches grow, and it makes sense. How often are your people inviting others to come to church? Here's the hard truth. Most people aren't inviting because we're not making it easy enough, or we're not asking them to. On Carrie's podcast, Rich told the story of one of the fastest growing churches in the country. And Carrie asked the pastor what they did to grow so fast. And the answer, he said, honestly, it's a little embarrassing, but we started putting invite cards on every seat, every single week, all year long. That's it. They made inviting simple and visible. Now, why does this matter? Because most people want to invite, but they forget, or they freeze, or they fumble their words. And your job as a church is to lower the barrier as much as possible so that invitation becomes second nature. And yeah, in a screen-saturated digital age, physical invite cards are still powerful. They linger on kitchen counters. They get tucked into wallets. They're tangible, and sometimes they're the spark that opens the door. But invitability goes way beyond cardstock. 3 pieces to consider here. Make no mistake about it. Number 1, according to Lifeway research, the number 1 reason people choose your church is because of the sermon. People want Bible-based and relevant teaching. And so you should absolutely have a call to action each prior Sunday about the next Sunday. What questions will you tackle? Why would someone invite a friend to come? You can say things like, hey, next week, here's what we're talking about. Here's how next Sunday will be helpful for you and for those in your life. Think about the largest church in our nation, Life.Church. I went there recently just to check it out. It supplies a 10-pack of invite cards on every seat every week. And you know what else? They preach highly relevant sermons, so there's great confidence that if they invite a friend or a neighbor, the message will be helpful and relevant for the person. The absolute best people to build an invite culture with, this is number 2, are those who are already your biggest supporters. And who is that? That's those who serve at your church, your volunteers, your dream team, whatever you call those volunteers at your church. Again, the best way to encourage more invitations is to highlight those who are doing it well. Tell stories and testimonials of people who invite others and what happened because of it. Now, some of the other ideas I'll give you in this video will give you ideas for other ways you can develop and grow your invite culture. Also, real quick, if this video is helpful, please hit subscribe and comment below. Let me know what parts of it are helpful. And if you've got ideas that aren't covered in this video, drop them below. The more I know this is helpful, the more stuff I can do like this. But here's the bottom line. If church growth is driven by invites and invites are driven by accessibility, then increasing your invitability might be the simplest, lowest cost growth strategy out there. With all 10 of these ideas, I'm going to give you a challenge. Audit your invitability. Ask your staff and volunteers, how easy are we making it for our people to invite someone here right now? Then make one clear, tangible upgrade. That's idea 1. Idea 2, pursue 5-star reviews. Today, more than ever, people look online to find a church. And even with the rise of ChatGPT and AI tools, still in 2025, Google still dominates the search market. Depending on what study you look at, it's like 89 to 91% of the search market. And that means reviews, especially on Google, are now a critical part of how a church shows up to strangers exploring faith or community. Recent data shows 81% of consumers use Google reviews to evaluate local organizations, and 88% read those reviews before deciding whether they're going to visit. Now, do you think it's unbiblical and consumeristic and a little bit weird to have people rate and review churches in the same way they would rate and review the burger at the local burger joint? So do I. My advice is to get over it. It's happening whether you like it or not, and so you might as well use it for your advantage. Not only is this a low money investment, it's free, but it's also one of the lowest time investment ideas as well that you'll find in this video. And it's super effective. Check out this review I wrote for my church 3 years ago. I received an email less than a year after I reviewed it, and it was from Google, and it said, "Congratulations, your review has been seen more than 1,000 times." Think about that. One review seen by more than 1,000 people in under a year. That's crazy. And our church has gone from 40 reviews to 177 reviews in just a little over 3 years since I've been banging the drum on this. So here's how your church can step into this. First, invite your staff, your regular attenders, and volunteers to leave honest 5-star reviews. Explain that it matters. Not like for rating like a burger joint because someone might one day get a burger there, but because people are genuinely using these reviews to choose where to worship. Then after you invite, make it easy. I really suggest providing direct links with really clear instructions. This process is not a hard process. It should take people no more than 5 to 10 minutes, especially if they have the right links and the right language from you. I would then encourage reviews, not just on Google, but on any platform where people might search. Facebook, Apple Maps, community listing sites, review in all those places. And then be ready to engage. Respond graciously to reviews, helps people know that you're listening and you're active. Thank people, keep the tone humble and welcoming. Good engagement helps your church look alive and relational, not distant or institutional. And let me throw this pro tip in here. If you happen to get a negative review, you can certainly ask for Google to intervene, especially if it's like totally unfair and not even true. And you can ask them after the fact. But here's what I would say, flip it for good. What I mean by this is you can use a negative review by someone else that's completely unfair. Many negative reviews are. And you can reach out to your members, your attenders, your social channels and say, "Hey, wow, guys, we just got a negative review that we feel is unfair or untrue because of X, Y, and Z. Anyway, would you do us a favor and write a positive 5-star review and let people know why you love your church?" It's amazing to see your people rally with a little bit of negativity, how that can help. So here's the challenge. Check how many online reviews your church currently has, then set a simple goal. Double that number in the next 7 days with honest reviews from your faithful attenders. And then keep at it every month. Idea number 3, use AI to multiply your message. We are living in the most content-saturated moment in human history and one of the most opportunity-rich. The problem for most churches isn't creating content, it's stewarding it well. Most churches are already producing amazing weekly sermons, series, devotionals, some podcasts, and teaching moments. But too often, we preach it once or we teach it once and let it fade. Let's change that. With free or low-cost AI tools, you can now take one sermon and multiply it into 7 or more powerful platform-specific pieces of content, allowing your message to echo all week long. Now, I know that AI is new and we're still trying to figure out what to do with it, but to neglect it would be poor stewardship of the times we live in. We can get way more into using AI in helpful or harmful ways, but to me, it's a no-brainer. Let's use AI tools to reinforce these beautiful messages, this amazing content that you're already coming up with and already producing. I heard someone once say the only people that are creating new content every week is pastors and WWE wrestlers. So you're already creating the content. After the fact, use AI tools to do any or all of the following. Number 1, you can summarize the sermon into a blog post. A simple tool like ChatGPT can help with that. Number two, you can create a 3-day devotional series, and you can send that via email, newsletter, or even in text messages. Number three, you can clip video excerpts to create short form reels for platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and maybe even TikTok. Number four, you can design some really awesome quote graphics or carousels in a tool like Canva. Number five, you can turn sermon points into group discussion questions using ChatGPT, or throw your whole manuscript or transcript. If you don't write it out, throw a transcript in there and it'll come up with some really great questions that you can start with. Number six, you can create a question of the day prompt for texting or for Instagram stories. And number seven, you can schedule it all out with a free social scheduler. Now, why this matters is because people are being discipled by algorithms all week long. Why not let your message show up in their feed, their inbox, or text thread, not just their church row? This isn't about creating more content. This is about extending the life, reach, and discipleship impact of what you've already faithfully preached. And it's never been easier. You already made the message. Now let's multiply it. Your people and your mission deserve it. And so here's the challenge. Take one recent sermon, use AI. ChatGPT and Canva are two of my favorite. They're so user-friendly. And repurpose it into at least 3 different formats this week. You don't need to do all 7. Try 3 and track the reach and pay attention to feedback, and then commit to doing what works again next week and maybe trying something new. Hey, if this video has sparked even one idea so far, would you do me a quick favor and hit that like button? It tells YouTube this kind of content matters, and it helps more pastors and church leaders find it. And before moving to number 4, let's be real. We could talk about AI and its effective or ineffective uses all day long. And if you want me to focus a future video on AI, post in the comments below. What questions would you have, or how have you used or not used AI in helpful or harmful ways, or just write AI? And I know that that's important for you in the future to learn more about. All right, let's keep moving. Idea number 4, excel in one social media platform. If AI is not controversial, well, social media is. Social media can be both a blessing and a burden. It's addictive, it's divisive, it's noisy, but it's also where the most conversations are happening today. And the church has a reason to show up. Ed Stetzer puts it this way: if churches truly want to see the gospel impact and influence a community, they should go to the place where the most significant conversation is actually taking place right now. And today, that's on social media. So as of 2025, 71% of American adults say they use Facebook, and it remains one of only 2 platforms, alongside of YouTube, that a majority of adults still use daily. And so how do you stand out? Here's what social media can do for you. It can get the word out quickly, and it can get the word out clearly. It can show to not just the people of your church, but your community, that your church is alive, that it's active, and that it's relevant. It also lets your current members share their experiences with friends and neighbors. We talked about AI extending the message. Social media is a beautiful place where you can extend that message, that sermon, beyond Sunday. And the best part about social media is, again, low cost ideas. It's free, unless of course you decide to run ads, and maybe that makes sense here and there. I remember when I was pastoring in Florida, our church Facebook reach once topped 32,000 different people in a single month. We were a church that worshiped several hundred. But most of those users lived within 25 miles of our church. And so I was thinking, like, this isn't just random engagement. These are people that could actually walk into our doors next Sunday. In 1 year, 64 first-time guests said they heard about our church. We had it on the Connect card. Well, how do you hear about our church? And they marked Facebook. Now, if each of those connection cards represents just 2 people, think about that. That's 128 guests. And we know plenty more people that don't fill out cards, and we'll talk about that later. But that's a serious impact, because every number is a person. We saw salvations, baptisms, and entire families transformed, all because someone saw a post or a check-in of a member or shared a live stream. You don't have to master every platform. Pick one and excel there. For most churches, Facebook is still the best starting point. If you serve youth or young adults primarily, you might do YouTube, Instagram, or maybe even TikTok. But here's the challenge. Check your social media analytics this week. Set a realistic 60-day goal to increase your reach and engagement on that one platform and start posting 3 to 5 times a week. Ask people to check in on Sundays and encourage tagging and sharing. Social media, it is noise, but it's not just noise. It's a mission field. And we got to shine light where the world is scrolling. And so if you need help with doing this well for your church, there are 3 really great Facebook groups that I recommend in the free ebook that you can grab in the pinned comment below at the link. So let's get to number 5. Number 5, invent big Sundays. According to Tom Rainier, only 2% of churchgoers will invite someone unchurched in a given year. That's just 1 out of the 50 people that are in your church. What would happen if that jumped to 20%? Remember earlier, the key to church growth is invitability. And so how likely is it that people will invite others? One of the best ways to boost invitability is to create big Sundays, services that are unique, exciting, and easy to invite others to. And here's the good news. That same Tom Rainier of Lifeway Research says that 82% of people who don't regularly attend church are open to come if a friend invited them. The harvest is plentiful. We just need to create moments for invitation. And the times in which friends typically come for the first time is holidays or special event Sundays. And every church leader already knows Easter and Christmas draw big crowds, but why stop there? Look at your calendar. Are there other Sundays that tend to naturally draw more people than others? I've found that there are 5 high potential Sundays that most churches, not all, depends on where you're at and what season you're in, but many churches see spikes on these days as well. Mother's Day, the second Sunday in January, not the one right after New Year, but the one after that, the Sunday after the school year starts, the Sunday after Labor Day, and here's a big one, the extra hour daylight savings Sunday. So what if you amplified these days with intentional planning and put more energy into it? You can also create big Sundays through celebration moments like church anniversaries. Awesome. Vision Sundays. How about back to school or fall kickoff Sundays? Ugly Christmas sweater Sundays. You could do something around Halloween called Super Sweet Sundays. Many churches do a series called At the Movies once a year. Why? Because it increases invites. Then finally, this is a big one, Baptism Sundays. I believe that baptisms are not only an amazing gift that God gives to us, but such a great tool and witness that can bring people into the church. I remember early on in my ministry, someone was having a baptism for their daughter, and they invited her friend to come. Now, her friend came the very next day, and the truth is she was actually hungover. Ministry's messy, right? But she said the only reason she was there to support her friend. And even in her state, she heard something that she needed to hear that day. And she came back again and again and again. And we actually had the chance to baptize her a few months after that. And over the following 18 months, I had the privilege to baptize her son, her granddaughter, and her mom. 4 generations. That's the power of a single invitation. Some friends would not be inclined to attend on a normal Sunday, but they will attend and support a friend being baptized. Growing churches should be thinking about how do we have 6, 8, maybe even up to 10 special Sundays a year. Every Sunday is important, but use these big Sundays to do extra special things. And so let's get to this challenge. Pull out your church calendar. And what does it look like to plan 8 to 10 intentional big Sundays in the next 12 months? You've already got 2 in Easter and Christmas Eve, so 6 to 8 more. But what would it look like to build anticipation, equip your people to invite, and trust God with the increase? Hey, I'd love to hear what other big Sunday ideas have you seen work or not work? You can share those below. All right, let's keep rolling. Idea number 6, seek publicity from the press. In 2014, our church in Florida exploded in growth. Not because we had more staff, not because our facility was ideal. We were severely understaffed and strapped for space. But we had 2 stories that went viral that the press covered. The second story was in November of 2014 when I broke the Guinness World Record for the longest speech, 53 hours and 18 minutes. And if you're like, is that true? Yes, it is. Boom, here's the certificate right here. But we not only spoke for a really time, but we raised $100,000 for a recovery ministry that our church had started. And the story went everywhere. Now, of course, God gets all the glory, but these stories like this got people talking. Our community noticed. Our church attenders were proud to share, post, and invite, and visitors kept coming. Now, you may not decide to set world records, but there are practical ways to attract media attention and amplify your church's voice. And doing one event and getting positive press coverage, by the way, helped the local press be more open to working with us in the future. So here's the key. Plan press-worthy events with visual appeal and community impact. Think, do an Easter egg drop, but use a helicopter. Do a trunk or treat and have a free concert. Tim Tebow's Night to Shine is a beautiful event. Meal packing events where you're going to make a crazy, ridiculous number of meals for those in need. These events give the media something to cover and give your people something to post and invite others to. Not only do your people want to share these stories, but the press wants stories. They just need them to be organized, timely, and ready. Now, if everything you ever do is with the intention of, well, let's get the press to show up, you may need to ask what your real motivation is. But most churches are trying their best to make a difference in the world, and it's important your community knows that you're here for them. And are there 2 or 3 things a year that you can get out there and let people know what you're up to? The truth is that hosting, organizing, and leading press-ready events is a lot of work, but it's work that pays great dividends. Pro tip from a guy I've mentioned a lot in this video, Rich Birch. He says, look up past community stories, find out who wrote them, and contact that reporter directly. If your event fits their beat and you make it easy to cover, they'll likely say yes. Over time, we noticed this. People didn't always come to church right away after an event, but months later they did. And when they came, they were ready to go deeper. Because sometimes people won't come to a God thing, but they'll come to a good thing that becomes a pretty nice bridge to Jesus and to the church. Some people have called things like my world record speech or helicopter egg drops as gimmicks. Truthfully, I didn't care, and I still don't care. Jesus said it's our responsibility to let our light shine for the world, and if through these gimmicks I can preach the good news of Jesus for 53 hours with the promise that every time his word goes out, it doesn't return void. And if on top of this, we can raise money for a charity, and if we can provide a great family event and a time of great disconnection and some excitement, some candy, some helicopters, something the kids love that families want to share, and ultimately through it all, more people get connected to our church and to Jesus, then put me on the list to sign me up for more gimmicks. But here's the challenge. Plan 3 large-scale service events this year that are press ready. Assign someone to handle outreach and media coordination. Shine your light and invite the city to see it. I'd love to hear from you. What other church events have you seen the press cover? What have you done at your church? Let me know below. And again, before we get to idea 7, if you find this video helpful, if one of these ideas is going to be a home run for you, hit subscribe below, share it with another church leader, and remember to download the free ebook and leader's guide that goes with this at the link below in the pinned comment. Let's keep moving. Idea 7, lead a church-wide 40-day challenge. One of the most powerful growth strategies we've seen at Red Letter Living is a 40-day all-in church challenge. We think it's best when it's centered on the habits and teachings of Jesus, his words. Growing churches do 1 or 2 what I'm calling all-in series a year together. And when a church moves together in rhythm, when they're reading and reflecting and responding, it builds spiritual momentum that you can feel in the room. And so let me give you 5 super quick reasons this works. Number 1, challenges bring energy. When people engage with Jesus Monday through Saturday, they show up on Sunday with excitement. We've seen churches grow small groups by 40% during a 40-day series. Crazy numbers. Number 2, challenges create unity. In divided times, nothing brings people together like a shared focus on Jesus. Every age group can participate in these all-in series, from kids to adults. Number three, challenges or all-in series are turnkey. At least you want to find one that is. You want to find as many resources that can come with it. And so in our case, we provide sermons and small group guides and kids curriculum and videos and graphics and so much more. It's a huge win for overwhelmed or kind of tired staffs. Number four, challenges are invite friendly. There's that invitation thing again. From small groups to service events to launch Sunday, these campaigns offer natural moments for people to invite friends and neighbors. And then number five, challenges activate new leaders. You see, when you challenge people to step up, to join, to serve, to give, to pray, to read, to invite, they often do. And we've seen God use these challenges to grow churches numerically and spiritually. And I could talk for hours, okay, even 53 hours and 18 minutes about this. But instead, I made a playlist of 8 short videos you can find right here or in the pinned comments below. These videos are 3 to 6 minutes to help you launch a challenge well. So I'll drop that playlist link in the pinned comment along with a form for pastors to request a free 40-day workbook. If you want to dive deeper, we've got loads of insights from helping launch over 1,250 church-wide challenges up to this point. And so here's the challenge. Watch the playlist, check your calendar, pick a season to go all in with a turnkey challenge and prepare for momentum. Even if you don't use our resources, I believe you'll see the power of a unified all-in church series. But to be clear, we'd love to work with you. All right, we got just 3 more ideas. And here we go. If you've used, by the way, one of our challenges, please feel free to post which one in the comments and some of the outcomes of it. But idea number 8, bless charities with your connection cards. It's an incredible blessing to see someone new in church. However, I noticed early on that many new people were coming, they wouldn't fill out a connection card. Only a small percentage were willing to give us their contact information, and by not collecting their information, it's kind of impossible to follow up with them and to get them plugged in. Think about it. In many of our churches, we work so hard to get new people to attend our church. It is poor stewardship to not also invest the time, the resources, and energy to do everything that we can to collect a guest's information when they attend. So early on, we noticed there's not a lot of people filling out, we called them connection cards. And so we set a goal to fix that. Here's a few of the things that worked that we did. Number 1, we simplified the card. We removed insider language. We asked them for only what really matters, like name, email, phone, and how they heard about us. The less friction, the less things you have on there, the more responses you're typically going to get. Number 2, we also prioritized it on stage. We talked about the card multiple times. It was in our pre-service slides, it was in our welcome, our offering, our closing, and our post-service slides. And we gave clear instructions on how to turn it in. And number 3, this is a big one though. We tied it to generosity. And this was the game changer. For every card we turned in, we gave a small gift to the guest, and we also donated $10 to $20 to a local charity on their behalf. We told people exactly what their gift was and exactly where the donation was going, because transparency builds trust and generosity builds momentum. Every month, we highlighted a different charity partner, and at month's end, we then invited that leader on stage, presented them a check, and let them share about their work. Our church loved it. Some even joined those causes long term. And what happened? We went from getting an average of 10 or so cards a week to 25 or 30. We had 2 to 3 times more connection opportunities. How? Just by being generous, very specific, and a little strategic. Now here's a few tips for you. Be specific about your gift. If you're giving someone a gift, tell them what it is. Nobody wants to go up to a table or a person and be uncertain what their gift is. Like if you don't want to tell them what the gift you're giving them is because you're not proud of it, then get a better gift. Also, if you're giving to a charity, let them know which charity. Be specific with how you're helping a local community partner. Talking about specific, be specific also about where to go. Make it visible and make it easy. And then be really careful on your language. Eliminate any insider language. Avoid using the word visitor. We use the word guest when we have to, but we prefer to use the language new here. If you're new here, because why? New here may mean they've been coming for 3 months and never connected. Point being, we want their information so we can follow up with them. And so the challenge is to audit your connection cards, the process and what it looks like. Cut out the fluff and choose a local charity to bless for a month and try it. Tell your guests exactly how their info will make a difference, not only in their life, but in somebody else's. All right, we're coming down the home stretch. Idea number 9 is to get feedback from a secret worshiper. Retailers use secret shoppers to test the customer experience, and so why shouldn't churches? I once asked a pastor friend from a fast-growing church to send someone anonymously to attend our service and to give us feedback, especially on how we are treating our new here guests. No one on staff knew, but I wanted an honest evaluation. And the results? Eye-opening. Our guest, we thought we were nailing it, but our guest felt overlooked, confused, and was uncertain of next steps. This was where we learned that our connection card was full of insider language. And this is where we learned about the new here words from him. And so this really helped us, this kind of feedback helped us spot blind spots that we didn't even know existed. And it gave us some objective input that we could share with our team to make real improvements. Here's 3 reasons I think you could consider a secret worshiper visit. Number 1 is because fresh eyes reveal those blind spots. We can't fix what we don't see or what we don't even know is an issue. Number 2 is third-party feedback gets taken really seriously. It removes bias. I found often as a pastor or church leader that I can say something, but then you bring in the third-party expert that says the same thing, and well, they're the ones that get the credit, even though like I've always been saying that. But number 3, it shows you care. People notice when you're working to improve the guest experience. And we want to allow as many new here guests to arrive on our campuses. So here's the challenge. Partner with another church and swap secret worshipers for a Sunday. Afterward, debrief together and be ready to grow. And if you need a secret shopper template to use, you can grab one for free at the link in the pinned comment that we created for you. Before I get to idea 10, what other video ideas would you like me to explore? How can I be a helpful church growth ally for you? All right, number 10, here we go. Finally, home stretch. Follow up with guests fast and well. Now, most churches only see 6 to 10% of guests return. So if you can get 15, 20, 25% of guests to come back, your church could grow significantly. And one of the best ways to improve that is simply by following up quickly and intentionally. Think about it. It's hard enough to get a guest to walk through your doors and hand you their contact info. Do not waste that moment by letting the card or sit in a stack or get buried in a database. That's why I think of all the ideas, this is the lowest hanging fruit for church growth right here. This is the one I would focus on first. We've done so much to get them to attend, and to actually give us their information, it is extremely poor stewardship to not follow up fast and well. At our church, we used to send a note, email, and make a phone call, but when we evaluated the system, we saw inconsistencies. Some guests heard from us quickly, others waited over a week, sometimes not at all if a volunteer was out, and that's not good enough. Because of privacy issues and how organizations have wrongly shared information in the past, I think many churches are hesitant to over-contact people, but I believe the risk is much greater on the other end, that churches don't contact them enough. Here's what we learned. Guests who filled out a card are raising their hand saying, please follow up with me. There were 2 fast-growing churches interviewed on Carey Nieuwhof's podcast, and they shared a common strategy, that they visit guests at home the same day. They trained small group leaders to bring a handwritten note, fresh baked cookies, and a $5 Starbucks card. And the results? No pushback, just gratitude, connection, and a much better percentage chance of them returning to church the next Sunday. If that's too much for you, start smaller. Send a personal thank you that same day. Deliver a small gift or note if they return. Invite them to a next step if they opt into email. Thank first-time givers personally. If they don't return in 2 or 3 weeks, send a kind invite with a small incentive. This may feel old school, but it's deeply relational and guests notice. So the challenge is to audit your current follow-up process. Tighten the timing, assign responsibility and clarity. Make sure every guest feels seen, appreciated, and invited into more. It's the lowest hanging fruit of church growth, and so grab it. So there's your 10 ideas that are, let's call them cheap and doable. Not every idea in this list will be the perfect fit for your church, but I hope at least one or two spark something actionable for you. And if they help move the mission forward, praise God. And if they don't quite land in your context, then try something else. Just please don't stop trying. And let me know what questions you have, what works, what doesn't work in your context. Jesus is too good, His grace so real, and His mission too urgent for us to settle into the slow drift of decline. The local church is still God's plan A for reaching the world, and now is the time to step forward in faith, creativity, and conviction. And so here's my final encouragement. Never apologize for making it easy for people to meet Jesus. If someone questions your strategy, whether it's creative events, bold invites, a helicopter egg drop, or asking for Google reviews, let them. You don't need their permission to reach the lost. Keep going. Be bold. Do whatever it takes, anything short of sin, to introduce people to the Savior who changed your life. Thank you for leading with courage. Thank you for dreaming that there can be more. And thank you for being a faithful expression of Jesus in your community. And if this video was helpful, please subscribe for more like it in the near future. And God bless you.